Now, ActionSA has replaced its former KwaZulu-Natal chairperson, Khoza, with Musa Kubeka as interim provincial chairperson. The party accepted Khoza's resignation in December. National Director of Operations, Funzela Ngobeni, says that the party wasn't aware that Khoza was going to be nominated and elected by ANC members as a member of the Provincial Executive Committee.
It's just a question of processes. I mean, we might be a new political party, but we're not a Mickey Mouse organization. So all of us need to do things according to the processes of the party. So if there's going to be elections of Ngobeni at City of Johannesburg as a deputy mayor or as something, that process needs to start at the party level. A party needs to endorse it, and then you can go and stand in as a candidate. So there's no problem. But it's very important that we all must follow the party processes. We are a party of processes, and that must be applied to all. It must not be selective.
Staying with this matter now, let's analyze the underlying issues within the party. What happens if there are further impasses, and what it means for Herman Mashaba to be the kingmaker? For more on this, we're joined by political analyst Dumisani Tembe to break this down for us. Dumisani, a lot of developments have been happening with ActionSA since those local government elections. I think everybody will remember that ActionSA was this beacon of hope within a local government, and now it seems as though things are falling apart. We're seeing what's happening with Khoza, and of course what we saw happening at the first sitting for the city of Johannesburg. What is happening?
Well, good morning to you too, and good morning to the viewers at home. Look, I don't think that ActionSA is necessarily falling apart. This is quite common when a new party gets into the picture. To contest elections. You should keep in mind that in the South African environment, where there are no jobs being created in the public sector, most people join political parties, particularly new political parties, with the hope of securing employment for themselves, but only to find out when the outcomes comes out, you find that there's not enough, spaces for everyone to be absorbed. So I don't think necessarily that the ActionSA is going through a crisis. Perhaps it's going through its own labor pains that it's going to deal with. Also remember when the EFF was formed, and then after the election, there were also some serious challenges, that included the likes of Andile Mutama and others, for example, to the extent that they were even taken to court. So this is not new. In fact, it's going to test ActionSA its ability to manage internal difficulties as it grows.
No, absolutely. And while they manage those internal difficulties, talk us through the situation with Khoza, for example, where she resigned as the chairperson for the province of KZN. I don't know if you listened to an interview she did earlier in the week on a radio station saying that she was instructed to step down, and Herman Mashaba said that no, she actually requested to step down. I mean, do you think that the position not being filled by her is the best direction in which the ActionSA should be going in?
Well, I think in KZN, it would be befitting for Khoza to run the organization in that province. But then keep in mind that Khoza is someone who has got a very strong character. Her own political is not an easy one for many of those that engage with her. She demonstrated her strength when she was, in the ANC as an MP. Similarly, when she was working for Outer, she also demonstrated her character. So she doesn't seem to me at the political level that is someone who willy-nilly takes instruction. I think she wants to be a bit autonomous, make a decision on herself, and which is a bit difficult because she belongs to a political party. But also the challenge is that within the ActionSA, they haven't started to get to a point where there are internal elections and people get into senior position on the basis of having been elected. So at this point in time, the fact that most people who hold the senior position are appointed by the national leadership it does have the potential to create the friction between those that are at the center and those that are running provinces. So I don't necessarily think that the case of Khoza within the ActionSA is an isolated matter. In fact, when they recruited that into an organization, at the head office, they should have planned how to manage politically someone of the character of Khoza. I suspect this is part of the growth of ActionSA.
I wonder if the growth is hampered, though, Dumisani, by the leadership style of Herman Mashaba. We've seen a number of reports over the last few weeks about his leadership style, people a little bit unhappy with that. Your analysis on the way that he's been leading the party, especially within the coalitions that have been formed over the last few weeks?
No, it doesn't come from a tradition of political parties. I think that we should keep in mind. It doesn't come from a tradition where he found a political party and he grew within a political party and he internalized the values and constitutional principles of that particular party. In this instance, he started the party, so he is at the top, despite the fact that he does not have a background of being a politician. So I think for him, he perhaps is trying to balance two things. One, it is his own style of leadership from the front, where he constantly has to make decisions, particularly for a fresh new political party. The second element is to come to terms with the fact that political parties grow through internal open democracies, which is something that he has to learn and balance with his own leadership style that over the years he is used to making decisions regardless of the feelings of other people. So it's a very interesting balance to make. And you can see his challenge there with the response by the people or his own members in Soweto who are constantly challenging him because they, in their own political party upbringing, they expect to be heard when he's the decision-making type of a person. So it's something that as they go along as the political party, they need to find the balance.
Right, and of course finding that balance is going to be critical if they are to make any sort of impact in the upcoming elections in 2024. Your analysis or your thoughts on what needs to be priority number one for ActionSA to focus on as we approach national elections in 2024?
Well, I think for now it is clear. It's their ability to manage internal challenges. And to give people a mechanism within the party that they feel like if they are not being heard, their mechanism of being heard. It's about building internal democracy, because if they don't do that, these series and events of constant protests within the party are likely to be used by political adversaries in the next election to use this very same people to undermine ActionSA. And if they don't deal with the ability to manage internal challenges at this point in time, they might find that by the time there's an election, the next general election, there are more and more disgruntled political people within the party that could, in working with other political parties, they can seriously cause an integrity damage on ActionSA.
No, absolutely. Many thanks for your time, Dumisani, this morning. That is a political analyst, Dumisani Tembe, joining us there to break down the current situation that's happening at ActionSA. He's indicated that this is natural. All new political formations do go through these challenges and that they just need to work on ironing them out ahead of the 2024 elections that are coming up.